Hey guys, how you doing? It's KJ coming at you today once again in Raid Shadow Legends, and today we're going to be making Clan Boss as simple as we can. So we're going to start out over here on the free-to-play account, and then we'll jump over onto my main account where I'll show you alternatives and more mid, late and end game teams. So what we're going to do is we're going to jump straight in and look at my Clan Boss team on my free-to-play. So on my free-to-play account I am 45 days played, I believe. Hitting hard Clan Boss. So this is the team I'm running at the moment. Ultimate Death Knight, Rosa Banshee, Kale, Deliana and Lord Chamfer. None of these builds are brilliant, but they are the best builds I can make at this point on this account. So what we do is we're going to run a key. I'll run this on auto. We're going to run a key, show you what sort of damage it puts out, go quickly over the builds and how they're built for this content, and then we'll jump over to the main where I'll show you later game teams. Right, this team will run full auto. This is usually a 2-key hard team, and it can 4-key brutal. I won't really run brutal on this yet because I'm not quite at that point. But I have managed to also get, as you saw then, Brimstone on Ultimate Death Knight, which does help push his damage up that little bit. So, right, here we are. We're approaching the 2-key mark. It's 5.6 million damage, I think, is the 2-key mark. So, we're there or thereabouts to 2-key on hard with this team. As I said, this team are just the best champions I have for this content. They aren't all ideal, but they are the best champions I have for this. So, I think we've got 1, maybe 2 turns left. Just Deliana left and done. So 6.62 million, so an easy 2-key hard team, and with a few tweaks and gear being slightly better, this could probably push to a 1-key hard, maybe a 2-key brutal team. So we'll take a quick look at the champion builds at this level, then we'll jump over to the main. So Deliana is built not for Clan Boss but for other content. So 157 speed, 50k HP, just shy of 2k defense, 84% crit rate, 70% crit damage, 147 accuracy. So she's built in the best gear I have for her on this account to be used across the game. She's in my team for all dungeons, for Clan Boss. I use her everywhere. Same goes for Frozen Banshee, but she's in lifesteal gear because she is there mainly to do damage in Clan Boss and to keep herself alive in other content. So we have her at 115 accuracy, just showing crit rate at 94%, 156 speed, 24.4k HP, 1.9k defense. So for hard and brutal Clan Boss, these stats are actually there or thereabouts. You could possibly get away with a touch more defense, but you're not a million miles out if you can get somewhere in the region of these stats. Kale, he once again is 169 speed, 82% crit rate, so just short of the 85% he needs. 146 crit damage, 92 accuracy, 24.7k HP and 1.4k defense. So defense is a little low, but he's built more so for arena than dungeons, but he's once again in lifesteal gear just for Clan Boss purposes. Death Knight, he's in random bits of gear to try and pump HP, defense, and I've got touch of resistance on him because that's mainly for Ice Golem. So I was struggling with clearing Ice Golem because of the heal reduction from one of the ads, whereas if he takes that hit, he takes that heal reduction, he may have the resistance to actually resist the heal reduction. Because I kept having Kale suffer the heal reduction, then his lifesteal gear doesn't work. And Lord Chamfer, once again, lifesteal just for Clan Boss purposes, but he's going to be built out to start doing damage elsewhere as soon as I can replace him within the team. I may 5-star Grave Chill just to run alongside Banshee for the extra damage in Clan Boss. But right, that's free to play. Let's jump over to the main and we'll have a look there. So, right guys, here we are over on the main account. And before we go any further, I just want to give a massive shout out and thank you to everyone for the continued support on the channel. We've just surpassed 450 subscribers, which is a goal I did not think we'd be reaching anywhere near this quickly. So thank you for every single one of you that have subscribed and watched any of my content. So let's jump straight back in. We're going to look at a couple of team possibilities over here on the main. So the first team, and we're actually going to run a key of this team, is a slightly upgraded version of the one I run on my free-to-play, which we're going to run on Brutal on this account. And that's going to consist of Kale. Once again, lifesteal gear. I'm not running a banner on him, just to simulate lower stats. He's at 213 accuracy, low on crit rate, intentionally, 155 speed, 29.6k HP, 1.5k defense, with a touch of attack. So they seem reasonable, approaching mid-game stats. Of course, I can, I've got a bit of room to upgrade. There's only got a 5-star amulet. Could put a banner on him. I don't know if I've got. But just to show why I've left the banner off. We were to take Madame's banner, put it on him, with another 96 speed. That put him over 300 accuracy, which for some, especially early mid-game players, that's going to be overkill. They're not going to be able to reach it. Whereas I feel getting for 200 accuracy is a much easier build to aim for. Frozen Banshee, once again, exactly the same thing. Lifesteal, where possible. May finish that set out. 184 accuracy. Low on crit rate. 202 speed. 35.4k HP. 2.3k defense. Now, these guys haven't been built out specifically for Clan Boss. I've just built them out in the bits I have lying around. So if I have a lifesteal gear, nothing leveled up. So we're going without full lifesteal on Banshee. Yeah, once again, I've left her. But once again, I've left Frozen Banshee's gear not fully leveled to show there is room for growth with this team. So her banner, for instance, is only level 7. It is an accuracy banner with a bit of speed, but it is only level 7. And as I said, she's only at 184 accuracy. So that, once again, feels like a nice mid-game, late early game, early mid-game build for people to try and reach. And this is just to show you what sort of things these teams can do. We're also going to be running a Bulwark, who's just in 4 pieces of accuracy to give you the 2 accuracy sets. He is a little bit better built on the accuracy side and the HP and defense, but that's because this is my Bulwark I use in other content. So I use him for Doom Tower, Secret Rooms, and for Faction Wars. So he needs to be built out a little bit more tanky, but to balance that, he's not wearing lifesteal gear. So I feel that's possibly, once again, a little bit of a fair trade-off to make. That, yes, he will survive longer on his own anyway, but he won't heal himself up as well. We're then going to bring an Apothecary just for the heals. So he's at 229 speed, 37.3k HP, 2.2k defense. And then that's about all that matters with the Apothecary, just those 3 stats on this build. And once again, I'm trying to simulate an early to mid-game account. The exception for this will be this team. I'm going to be running Ultimate Death Knight, who's a free legendary people can get. So I feel he is easy to slot into an early and mid-game account build because, well, he's a free legendary. All you had to do is log in for 7 days over the space of about 3 months to get him. So I feel for budget builds and for earlier game accounts, this guy is 100% fair use. Now, I have him in a toxic set. Now, just to show my toxic gear isn't ridiculous. So I'm not running anything crazy in my toxic gear. None of it's like ridiculous. I've not got quad rolls or triple rolls in anything. That he's in mediocre gear that have just got the rolls where I want them. So I think these are the only triple rolls I have are resistance and defense. But once again, he's got higher HP defense than everyone else and higher resistance and accuracy, but he has no lifesteal gear, so he's not going to be healing himself as quickly or keeping himself alive for as long without his continuous heals. So what we'll do is we'll do a run on hard with this team in comparison to hard with my last team on my free-to-play account and show you the difference. Other thing to consider is Death Knight has no masteries. If we come back down, Kale, he has War Master. Frozen Banshee also has War Master. Apothecary, barely any masteries. And Bulwark has War Master. So there's the consideration of not only are the stats slightly higher because I have better gear I can put on the champions, but also I'm in a position where I can run minnows stage 15 relatively quickly. I can't do this time anymore because I've tweaked builds, but I can run minnows relatively quickly and just farm up masteries as people are being taken up to level 60 at 6 star. So masteries become less of a problem the further into the game you get, and you can, of course, always just buy masteries with gems, which most early game players will be doing on their first, maybe 2 champions. You could dignify doing a 3rd if you really wanted to, but it becomes much simpler when you've got 2 done. So, hard, I'm going to have to buy a key here. So once again, 11.6 is what you're looking for on hard. So we'll buy a key. This is one of the variations of my actual team, which we'll be looking at shortly. So, Bulwark, Kale, Frozen Banshee, Apothecary. Run it that way around. Ultimate Death Knight in the lead just for the higher defense bonus for everyone. Once again, we'll run this on auto and we'll see what the difference in stats and masteries makes for this. Right, there we are, guys. We've just lost our first one in Apothecary at 10.7 million damage, turn 18. So we're coming to the end now, and you can see that lifesteal gear on Kale has been keeping him very well topped up. And if everyone was in lifesteal gear, these would still be going. You can see there is still little heals going off from masteries. But lifesteal gear at this point in the game is the best way to go. Unless you can get a champion that's going to bring leech in, and then everyone can still do damage. That will also keep you going nicely. There we are, down to Bulwark being the last one left. And he's just going to be Defiant. There we go. So 12.46. So that is the 1 key done on hard. So that would mean this team then is capable of 2 keying brutal. And you could, if you were running this for Clan Boss, these would all be in lifesteal gear, as I said, unless you were running someone with leech and who has a great leech ability. So let's go and have a look at a couple of other options we have. In fact, first, we'll look at my main Clan Boss team. I've already done my keys on Nightmare and Ultra Nightmare. So I am down here. Here we go. 85.41 mil with Fane, Ninja, Seeker, Warcaster, Tower. Now, this is one of the many variations of the Batman Forever comp. This can be done using a combination of Warcaster, Tower, and Sir Nick. And runs on a 2-for-1 from, I think it's like the first or second turn, all the way to the end. Full 50 turn, unkillable team. And you can replace, I believe Ninja's my slower of the 2 champions. I can replace him with a Doom Priest to become affinity friendly. I don't have a Doom Priest, hence why I've done my Clan Boss keys early, so I can make sure I'm hitting Void affinity, just because it's easier to hit. And then on Nightmare, I ran a different variation of that team. So I actually ran it with Longhorn instead of Fane, which once again was an 82 point, so best part of 83 million damage team. And all I've done is a straight swap of Longhorn for Fane, then Ninja, Warcaster, Seeker, Tower. Same team again. And as I said, you can substitute Tower out for Sir Nick. And there are variations that run with 2 Warcasters and things like that. They're just slightly harder to build. But then we also have, while we're on this page, we do then also have some great other compositions that people start to build out when they get later game. So we've got a 2-for-1 double man-eater comp here. We've got a Myth-Air. A Fu-Myth-Air, sorry. Team with Seeker and Fane running it. That once again will be a 2-for-1 composition team. This is a Shield, Growth and Ally Protect team. So once again, great damage dealing team. But this one is probably the most champion specific team to get going. Right, let's have a look at some Clan Boss champions for Unkillable teams. And so, another style of team you can build if you don't have Unkillable champions. So another type of team you can build if you do not have Unkillable champions is to run an Allied Protection and Shield team. So I've built one out. I've not fully tuned it, but I have built one out, and it will last 50 turns on Hard and Brutal. Mainly used for Hard and Brutal for me because I hit Nightmare and Ultra Nightmare so early on after reset. When it becomes Affinity, then if it's Spirit Affinity, my tuned 2-for-1 team will not run. So I have a backup team that I can just throw in and I know will get the job done. This is where if you have the ability to run a double man-eater, an easy double man-eater, a 2-for-1 double man-eater, that is the best team you can run, because that team is not only unkillable, but it is fully affinity friendly right from the get-go. If you can hit the speeds and you have the champions, you can do it. And to give you a quick rundown for that team, you will need 2 man-eaters, 1 Seeker, 1 Painkeeper. You have those 4 champions. You will then throw in any DPS you like, Ninja for example, and that will be a full 50 turn 2-for-1 unkillable and affinity friendly team. Outside of that then, the 2-for-1 I run, my Batman composition isn't affinity friendly, so I just have Tower, who's a block damage for 2 turns champion. There he is. And Warcaster, who's a block damage for 1 turn champion. They're both on the same cooldown. That is what allows them to alternate every turn on who is doing. They're both on the same cooldown. That is what allows them to alternate every turn of the clan boss on who's doing the block damage buff. But the other composition I've run, which is a shield and allied protection team. So I run a Valkyrie, who's got a shield on all allies for 3 turns and a counter-attack buff on all allies for 2 turns. Value of the shield and the damage inflicted are proportional to this champion's defense. So all you do, get her defense up. 6.4 thousand defense. And you can get it higher. Like Empowerment, Blessings, Faction Guardians, Masteries, Arena, Great Hall. This can go higher. So if you could push 7,000 defense on a Valkyrie, I mean, my Valkyrie's at 6,400 and she will keep my team alive on hard and brutal clan boss for 50 turns. She'll keep my team alive on Nightmare for 40 turns. I've not tried it on Ultra Nightmare, but she, just from the value of her defense alone, she can keep your team alive to allow your damage dealers to go. Then alongside her, I run an Usurga Warcaller. Places a 50% ally protection buff on all allies except this champion for 3 turns. places a 25% strengthen buff on this champion for 3 turns. So she protects everyone, makes herself stronger on a 5-turn cooldown for 3 turns. This, if it was booked, would be fantastic and much more use, but it isn't, unfortunately. I have the same problem everyone else does of I never have enough legendary books to go around, but I often find myself with more rare and epic books than I can shake a stick at. I don't know if that's just me. Let me know if you find the same problem or you're the opposite way around. So, Saga, all I've done, backed her HP and defense up with accuracy and speed to keep her relevant. I do use her outside of clan boss as well. It's not just for clan boss. These builds are built to go in various different areas of the game. I also run a Cardial in a Swift Parry set, just for the increased crit rate and crit damage buff, and then the ally attack, and decreases this. This is mainly used elsewhere. Decreases this. I also run a Cardial mainly for the increased crit rate and increased crit damage buff on all allies for 2 turns with an ally attack. The second part of his A3 isn't relevant at all for clan boss, but it is great if you're using him elsewhere. He, once again, has got enough speed to keep him relevant where I use him, mainly in arena. 88% crit rate with HP and defense to keep him relevant all over the game. I use Cardial everywhere. In arena, in clan boss, in Doom Tower, he is a go-to. If I'm trying to clear content, Cardial is one of my go-tos for it. He lives up, in my opinion, to being a void legendary in a way some of the others probably don't. And then to round out that team, we have 2 epics. We'll start with a predictable one. You can probably tell by where I've stopped who this is going to be. And this is, of course, Geomancer. He, once again, is not built for clan boss. My Geomancer is actually built for Iron Twins. And if you want to see how I run him in Iron Twins, there will be a video coming out on that in the next couple of days. So make sure you are subscribed so you do not miss that. But he is built out 299 accuracy. So that, even for where I'm using him, that is low. I could do with that being probably closer to 350, 400. But it's not there, so I have to just deal with that and move on. 174 speed. He's intentionally slow. 2.2k defense. Just shy of 41,000 HP. Once again, he's built for other content. He's not built for clan boss, but I run him in clan boss because I'm at the point in the game where I can run champions in builds that go across various areas of the game. And then the final champion in that composition is Godseeker and Neri. She is in this for her A2, Quest for Meaning. Attacks all enemies, heals all allies by 15% of their max HP. Then decreases the duration of all buffs on all enemies by 1 turn. And increases the duration of all buffs on all allies by 1 turn. So this uses the same theory as the record holding clan boss team does, but on a much smaller scale, scaled back to the champions I have. Now, she is not there to do damage. She's not there to do anything else other than extend these buffs whenever she can. As I said, this team isn't tuned, but this team works perfectly. And if you don't have these champions, there are a great deal of other teams you can build. So using a Man-Eater and a Painkeeper, you can then build a budget Unkillable. As soon as you have those 2 champions, you can reach the speeds required for the budget Unkillable. You then have a 1-for-1 ratio Unkillable team for clan boss that works on, I believe it works on Brutal, Nightmare and Ultra Nightmare without changing any gear, but I'm not 100% sure on that. You have 2 Man-Eaters. You can then run a double Man-Eater composition. 2 Man-Eaters, a Painkeeper, easy double Man-Eater. 2 Man-Eaters, Painkeeper, and a Seeker. That is a 2-for-1 Batman. That is a Bat-Eater comp that will do 2-for-1 for 50 turns and is fully affinity friendly. Don't have a man-eater? You have a rush card, the Tower, or a Sir Nicholas also works for this variation. And preferably a Skull Crusher. He's just my personal preference for this sort of composition. But if you have a Skull Crusher and a Tower, and you or Sir Nicholas, and you can reach the speeds required, which I think actually is slightly slower than I currently run my rush card at. Yeah, it's about I think it's in the region of 240, 245, something like that. And then, like the slow variation, Skull Crushers are about 174 speed. If you can reach those speeds and you have these two champions, that once again is a 1-to-1 ratio, 50 turn unkillable team. Assuming you can get the HP levels right. It takes a bit of tweaking to get running. But that was my first unkillable team. My first unkillable team was actually Skull Crusher. Where's he gone? And Tower. And then I ran that with a Thane, Frozen Banshee, and I can't remember who else I ran in that at the time. That was my first unkillable team, was a Tower Skull Crusher. I ran the slow variant just because the stun targeting is slightly easier. But that is personal preference, and it's also down to how easy you find building these champions. So you may find building unkillable champions is much easier than building killable champions. For instance, my ninja, he's built for a unkillable clan boss team. So he's in odd bits of gear with a speed set and a crit damage set. But he's just built to do damage. I literally pumped in, I wanted 230 accuracy. I needed him at 220, give or take 1 or 2, 220 speed. Besides that, I just want his attack, his crit rate, and his crit damage. He's just built to do damage. And Thane is exactly the same. She is just built at the speed I need, 100% crit rate, accuracy I need, and then damage. Attack, crit damage. So if you're building an unkillable composition, you can build your champions to do slightly more damage, assuming it's not going to throw off your stun targeting. An easy way to get around that, you'll notice all of my champions that can't take the stun. Seeker, Immortal set. Warcaster, Immortal set. Tower, Immortal set. So anyone you don't want taking the stun, if you pop an Immortal set on them, they heal themselves every time they take a turn, which can keep them above the HP threshold of whoever wants to take the stun. So in my team, it doesn't matter who takes it, Ninja or Thane, it just cannot be Rush Card, Seeker, or Warcaster. No, I do not want your event advantage pack. Right, guys, that has been my rundown of clan boss builds and team ideas for early, mid, and later on in the game. If you found this video at all helpful in any way, let me know down in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and I will catch you next time.